Welcome to the Iron Breed Podcast. My name is Austin, and here again with me today is Gerard.
What's going on, everyone? We got a very special guest today. Someone both me and Austin have known from our experience up at the University of Buffalo. The one, the only, Jerry Dadeboe. What's going on, man?
Man, thanks for having me, man. Honored to be here.
So Jeremiah has a business degree from University of Buffalo. He was a two-sport athlete. He ran track and he played football. Then he transferred to the University of Maine to also play ball, but he was working on some grad school stuff there, and he was actually getting a master's in information systems. So he is a very diverse man. He's got a lot of different stuff going on here, and I'm really excited to hear about all the cool things that he's doing and all of his different perspectives on school and life and opportunities. It's just been real cool. We were chatting a little bit here before we hit record, and man, he was saying some great stuff. And I was like, shit, I wish I was recording this whole time, but here we are. So anyway, welcome on the podcast, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Like I said, man, it's an honor.
Always, man. We're glad we could get you on here. And so, yeah, just starting off, give us a little background about your stuff, man. Like, we know you, we've talked about you, but let these people hear a little bit from you.
Okay. How far back? How far back you want me to?
Sure,
Also, for all
where are you from?
Pennsylvania people, he's a York County man himself. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YAIA, always repping.
didn't you say you were a state champ?
Yeah, but not in the sport that people would assume. Usually, I was a volleyball state champion, man.
Yeah, see, I would have never guessed that. Before you said that, I would have for sure maybe thought football, but no, that's cool. Well, hey, you've done something that most people can't say they've done, so you're already winning there.
Yeah. If it was a race, I guess so,
See, when I was at the University of Buffalo, the way I found out that Dadeboe came from a volleyball background is I watched this man literally take flight.
No.
So I got to tell a story, man. Let me tell a story. I'll just tell a story real quick. So we were testing our verticals, right? Getting all the players going through them. Our 6'7" quarterback at the time jumped, I think it was like a 38, something like that. It was pretty high. And of course, they have Dadeboe go last. And all the players, Dadeboe, Dadeboe, Dadeboe. This man rolls up. Dadeboe, how tall are you?
About 6 foot.
6 foot? Okay.
6 foot. I want to say 6'1", No.
Say 6'1". We'll give him 6'1". He walks up, and I literally watched this guy just take flight. What'd you jump that day, man? Was it 42 and a half?
I think it was 42. Yeah, 42 and a half. I'm pretty
Wow.
sure. Yeah.
That's no joke.
Man has a set of wings on his ankles.
Like I said, I take the bus, I take the train. I don't really fly, but
we'll give you credit. That day you did. That day you did. So yeah. So you coming from this background originally, and you've got some volleyball experience. But as you mentioned a little bit before this, sports really wasn't the main thing growing up. In fact, it doesn't sound like really until high school you got into it. So what was more of a focus growing up in your family?
yeah, I'll tell you what, people don't understand. I was really coming from like an African background, and my dad, he's a pastor, so he wasn't really big on like football and like all in like certain sports, and then just given that exposure. He was big on instruments. He loved music, so we were all like put into that world of playing instruments and just celebrating Christianity, the Lord, and all that. Like loved it. It was a good time in my life. I mean, I'm young, so I don't know no better, so I was just enjoying it. It was fun.
That's awesome, man. What are some of the instruments you learned how to play?
So the first one I learned was viola. I loved it. My brother picked violin, so I had to pick something else. So I went with viola, and then in the band, I took on trumpet. I love trumpet. That was probably my favorite one out of the three. And then after that, I learned how to play piano for a little bit. But that one, I could read sheet music, but it wasn't anything that I truly took, passion for to like really learn and take to that next level. But I could play. I could definitely play.
That's awesome, man. That's cool. So as you like entering high school, where did you notice this transition where you're kind of stepping away from music? Now athletics has kind of grasping your interest.
So in high school, I'll tell you what, it really started like in middle school, like where we'd have gym class with all the other kids and whatnot. And I mean, it became evident that, yeah, I should probably be trying to play actual sports. Like we're having fun playing dodgeball, freeze tag, flag football, and I mean, I'm killing it, man. So I'm like, man, I gotta find a way to get out on the field and actually play. So I mean, the exposure, I guess it naturally gravitated, and it naturally like came at the right time or the right period. I mean,
That's super cool. Who approached you and said, "Hey, you should try volleyball"?
ah, so the way it happened was the football coach was also the head football coach was also the volleyball coach. So yeah, so once I started playing football, he was quick to say, "Hey, come out for volleyball so we could talk more. Like, you could be more around, me, and we could talk, maybe scheme, try to coach you up with football, try to like, progress your knowledge and help you advance as an athlete." And, I mean, and also that at our school, the true state championship winning program was volleyball. They go to states every year. They're in contention for a state championship. I'm thinking at that age, like, why not? I would love to take a part in something that, has tradition and something that truly has value to it for, memory for a life. So it didn't take much for me to get on board.
Yeah. And then, sure enough, you were a part of that state championship dynasty, correct?
Yeah, baby. Hey man, it was too much. It was fun. I remember it like it was yesterday. Now, I feel like an old head now.
Man, don't we all now? That's for sure. We were just catching up. All of us have been in so many different spots since we were all at the University of Buffalo. But it's funny, like you meet individuals at certain points in time, and you like. I remember the first time I met Dadeboe, I noticed his work ethic, and that was one of the big things that stood out for me in the weight room. And so you connect, and it's the same when I, first approached Austin, and you meet individuals with this work ethic and this mindset, and you're like, okay, that's the type of individual I want to surround myself with. I want to keep contact with. And sure enough, here we all are in our own, different parts of the world, linking back up again. So how do you take that mindset, that work ethic that you sounds like you've gotten through high school going in and then take that as you approach college athletics?
So I'll tell you what. When I first got up to Buffalo, man, that was probably the biggest. That was probably the first year was probably the hardest year of my life, and there's no exaggeration, because like remember, I'm coming from York County football where we're not really getting coached up on really how to truly like we're just playing football somewhat, but it's still competitive. But there's a lot of things I didn't know, I didn't learn. Like I never had a true defensive back coach, and I was put at the defensive back position. I never used a weight room for real. It was like, so I'm going through a strength and conditioning program. I can't even bench, 225 much. I can't, like, I'm like bare bone and sticks. So I had to step it up. Something was telling me like I had to try to get caught up at least. That was my first goal. It's my first mission. So I mean, after practices and after workouts that freshman year, I would come to the strength coach and talk to Tim. I mean, Austin, Tim, Timothy, Craig Timmons.
Yep.
And yeah, he would put me through like lifts, and he would try to get me my upper body stronger. He would work on like say FMS stuff, and yeah. So it wasn't easy, man, but the work ethic that I had to bring over from high school and say middle school to that college level was just find a way to adapt and get caught up and then put yourself in a position to compete. If you're not within the range of your competitors or your peers, then you're obviously out of place. So first get in place and then let's compete, let's play, you know?
That's huge, man. That's huge. I don't think that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I want to be here. I want to do this." But if you try to actually do the work to be in a position to actually like go up with those individuals, a lot of times you see people are just nipping at the heels of individuals who've already figured that out, who are already they're running their own lane,
Yeah.
which we say often on here. So talk a little bit. So you went dual sports at Buffalo. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
itself
Crazy.
is a huge achievement.
Oh man, bro. Like no, but the thing is, the track team was trying to get me out they were trying to get me out since my freshman year. They heard that I had like, volleyball hops. So they tried to get me to come out for track, and head coach was saying, no, we'll wait. So then it finally got up to what was it? Either my redshirt junior year, I talked to him, and he finally let me try it out and do it, and I picked it up quick, and I had a chance to go to the MAC championship. Man, it was a great experience. Yeah, it was fun time, and it was a lot of hard work though. I'll tell you what, those 5 months, they were different. I had to switch gears, man. I had to learn a whole new talent, a whole new skill. I mean, and I picked it up, and I got to go to the championship. I wish I would have been able to medal, but not everything's a fairy tale ending. We don't really
So that's a huge accomplishment right there. And so when you were, what events did you do in track?
I got to do long and triple jump.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, I got to try. I got to do those. So had some fun with that.
That's awesome, man. And so, one of the things we especially talk about with the guys that we bring on here who have done collegiate athletics is how do you balance being a student and be competing at such a high level in athletics, because the two are so challenging to have just both going on at the same time. And it's funny, before we got started on here, you said one of the biggest things you accomplished was your degree. That's huge, man. That stands out a lot.
Oh my goodness, I'll say what, man. I like being able to balance and do sports. I tell you what, I think humans, the first skill that's so vital to humans is compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing. I can't even. It's a mouthful, but it's so valuable, But being able to be where your feet are, I like coaches say it all the time, but it can't be said enough. Like it's crazy when you're on the football field, when you're literally on the field or in a game. Like, are you there in that moment at that time? Maximizing that opportunity. So like same with academics. Even though they give you homework and they make you do all these other responsibilities outside of the classroom, I mean, it's just being able to set up situations where you'll have that time to finish those tasks or complete them. Like it's all about, I guess, time management and optimizing the time that you set aside for a task, and I mean that I give that the credit of how I got to be able to graduate and play collegiate athletics. That's what I'd have to say.
I think that's something that, like, hands down, almost every individual struggles with. It's time management and just being present in the moment. It's something that we hit on this podcast a lot of times. Both me and Austin have struggled with is always either having our head way too far in the future, maybe not addressing those things we need to be in that moment, or caught in the past, worried about what we used to do before.
It's crazy, man. It's the hardest thing. I'll tell you what, but it's the most essential.
You're not lying. So anyway, you got through your 4 years at Buffalo, and you decided that you wanted to keep playing ball, and
Yeah.
you ended up at Maine. So kind of how did that all work? And like, how's that process work, especially for people who aren't familiar? for those who play 4 years, how does it work that you still have that year of eligibility? Is it because you were redshirted a year, or that you decide that you wanted to go transfer and continue your education and still play ball? Like, how does that all work?
So the whole process pretty much takes place. First essential thing is to graduate. Once you graduate, I guess you get to do your grad transfer, and it opens up a whole bunch of doors. Because like something that I learned later on is the way the whole collegiate and NCAA thing works. It's like they lock you into a financial obligation with scholarships, like for that time being of until you complete that degree, or you know what I mean. Once you complete it, you pretty much can transfer or start, like, once you start because grad school, it's not mandatory, but it's something you can look at, So once I graduated and I got my degree, I knew I was coming up on that time. As long as I took care of my deal, I was going to graduate. So I figured for that spring, okay, I'm going to graduate. So let me maybe look at grad transferring. So this is when the transfer portal first came out. And, obviously some people flooded it. It flooded early. And yeah, because, a lot of people say I hate it here and this is all over the country. People, they're always in opportunities where they don't like where they're at and they don't like the position they're in. So they're thinking, man, I got to get out. So a lot of people, it flooded early. But me and my situation, I was thinking, man, I want to try to play football in a different location, different venue, definitely have a change of scenery and try to get one good season in before I try to start my professional career, my professional endeavors, in terms of football. So the way it started was I was in the portal and things moved really slow. Like, it's a slower process than what it seems. I mean, obviously if you're a 5-star, 4-star, like you're exclusive elite talent with elite film, I mean, you're going to get picked up quick, but unfortunately I wasn't, I'm not going to say I was anywhere near that. So, I mean, it was moving slow. I had to get my film together. I had to do all that, do a lot of work on the side, but I mean, through networking and, just exposure, Maine ended up crossing my path, and I got phone calls and I got to talk to them, set up an official visit. And it didn't take much for me to see that, the time that they were on matched with the environment, the scenery. It was a good match. It was a good fit for me. So that's how the whole process ended up going. And I was lucky to have a season that fall, and I tried to take advantage of it,
It's really interesting to hear that, like, it's like that much of a process. And did you find also, like, you talk about film, which you hear a lot of guys like that, it's kind of crazy how valuable that is, how much like you have to market and sell your ability. So like, is that something you notice as well? Like, okay, I've got to present myself to these individuals.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I'll tell you what, I think it's misconstrued that what you think is valuable film probably isn't valuable to certain coaches or to certain people. Like the way you view a tape, it could be completely a different perspective from a coach's mindset. So that's where, like, you think you have $1 on you, but it's really only worth 10 cents, and you better understand it. Like, so like I mean, the film process, that it took a lot of like editing and like a lot of viewpoints and people like putting in their perspective and this and that. Like it definitely wasn't a process that I did by myself. I had a whole bunch of people, a whole list of people that it'd be long to thank that helped me get through that and execute it.
And that's really interesting because, a lot of people probably don't think that. They think, all right, I put myself out there, making plays, looking nice, I'll be set. But
Yeah.
really, like you just said, it's gonna be that coach's perspective. So you have to like so many things. You've got to market. You've got to present yourself to how the individual you are doing that to, how you think they want to, perceive that, how they want to intake it. So that's very interesting that you hit on that. So you're continuing your education even further, man. You're doing what most don't choose to do. It's a master's degree. So go ahead, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so after I got my business degree in undergrad, I mean, obviously to play football in that fall, I had to continue with the grad school. So I thought what could complement my grad school, and I could probably try to complete maybe in the least amount of time that could still be effective. And but the MBA program that Maine was offering, it would take like 2 years. And in my head, I'm thinking I don't have 2 years to spare right now, you know. So what I figured is I'll do information systems where it's computer language and computer knowledge. And even if I don't finish it, it was only a year program, but even if I don't finish it that full year, computer knowledge and computer language isn't something you forget. You know, it's like as long as you can sort of be able to diffuse what's going on and how it works, and like, you know what I mean, like just be able to understand the steps and the time consumption it takes. That's a skill in itself that, you know, you can't take away. So I mean, I started the information systems. I liked it. It was definitely long and time consuming, but I mean, I took a break from it, but that's the goal. That's the master's program that I'm planning on finishing.
I think that's also so crucial because especially when we talk to guys who like the dream is ball. Ball is life and that's it. And that's all they got and that's good. But it's like so many other things. You want to have multiple skills areas, have multiple talents, things you can plug. You always have that mission, that aim,
Sure.
but you know that that's not the only thing that you can, pull on, that you can go after. I think that's very impressive, man. That's not something that most people would end up doing.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be the best Jerry I can be, so I'm trying to do everything I can. Trying to do everything I can, you know.
That's good stuff. So now what are you up to now, and what are you doing, and what are your plans for what you're doing now?
So right now, in this process or in this stage of my life, I'm balancing three things right now. I don't know how much information I can disclose, but you know, job offers and, you know, patents, inventions, and business ideas, and then on top of that, training. I'm trying like, I know right now with today's climate, it's hard for athletes to continue their football dreams or their professional aspirations with all the rules and, you know, COVID-19 regulations and all of that going on. But I'd be danged if I gave up and that was the reason why it didn't work, you know, like, so I mean, I want to see it through. I want to see how long I can make it balanced. As long as I can make it balanced, I will definitely give time and dedicate towards it, you know. That's a dream and that's a goal, you know, a passion for, you know. So those are the three things really right now. I mean,
I can attest. Jerry's had heart, man, since Buffalo. Every day in the weight room, that this dude had an immense amount of heart. He'd be staying afterwards, doing extra stuff. Always asking what can he do to improve on or work on to, make himself that much better, make himself that much more presentable to those individuals. And if Jerry, go ahead, give them your Instagram. If they don't follow you, they should.
I'm not really a huge social media dude, man. I'm not gonna lie. But
We talked about this. We said, like, because honestly, we're the same way. And it's something that we realize, like, okay, if we want to get to this place we want to, we got to be more present on it.
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, my view on it, so I'll check this out. And say in a couple years when I'm like 26, I'll start using it. I'll start flooding it, you know, but
That's
right
funny.
now, I mean,
That's what I'm doing right now.
like I don't see it. Look, I think everybody's in a rush to make it seem like they're living a life they're not really living, or talk about things that they ain't even done yet. I mean, let's just wait and then let's talk. Let's have a discussion. But as of right now, we're building. I mean, that's the way I feel about it. We're building right now. And once the building is done, then I'll let people come in, you know, like we don't let people come in when the roof is leaky and there's wires hanging out. Nah, that just looks weird.
You know, to be fair though, you're pretty similar to us. So the building will never actually be finished. There will always be something that you can do to keep adding on or improving the building. So the important part is at some point to take the knowledge that you've gained in building the building, in getting to the point where you're at. And that, because that's how I feel about with where I'm at right now, is that like, okay, I'm definitely not where I like, my building is not finished yet, but it's a whole hell of a lot more put together than it used to be. And so I'm trying to at least share that knowledge of like, okay, well, this is what I did to get here, but know that I'm still working on trying to get here. So, you know, but yeah, no, I know how you felt, because before, if you would have asked me to post stuff on that, it's like, I'm not the biggest, baddest guy in the gym. I'm not like the smartest dude in the world. So I'm like, who am I to be on Instagram being like, hey, y'all should be doing this? Yeah, no, I totally hear you, man.
What I mean, it's another thing that, like, it's different. If you create a whole separate page besides your original Instagram tailored towards something, like say you created an Instagram page for my journey to gaining weight or my journey to losing weight, that's a different thing, because the people that decide to follow it, okay, yeah, they're interested into it. They want to know what's going on. They want to know the updates. They want to, but I feel like your original Instagram and your original Twitter and your original, like, those are people that follow you maybe for different reasons, you know. And I don't think they don't care about the construction or how better you look when you haven't done anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's they don't want to be in the loop with all that. So I don't even bother to even, let me just wait, and then I'll, I'll start posting content.
And that's something actually both me and Austin have done, is where I'm especially guilty of it. I'll go ghost mode, or no one hears from me, nothing. And then next thing you know, I'll just be like, boop.
Yeah.
I've still been working, just because you do see that, especially in today's day and age, where it's an oversaturation of always, look at this, look at what I'm doing. Like you say, maybe you are painting a picture that you're living that life, but you're not, in fact, actually living it quite yet. But the attention that you get from that presentation satisfies an individual enough to keep doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I feel different ways with the social media, honestly.
That's fair. I think a lot of us do. I truthfully feel like I was born in a wrong time. Like, send me like 3 decades back, I'd have been great.
Goodness. It's crazy, man. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you that.
So who were let's go ahead, we'll say, who were 3 influential individuals in your life that were like provided you with a profound impact and set you up with some like guides and morals that you really take with you still today? That's a big one, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It's hard because, I mean, I don't want to sound corny, but I can learn. I like learning from a whole bunch of people, you know. But I mean, if I was to narrow it down to 3 people, I mean, it would have to obviously be my dad. You know, my dad was definitely a big figure, a big role model for sure, to let me know like what was right and wrong, correcting me along the way. You know, I'd have to say, in a weird way, I'd have to say coaches. There was actually the state volleyball coach that I had. I mean, I still keep in contact with him to this day. I mean, he took me under his wing and taught me some of the etiquette, because my dad's American, he's African, he's Ghanaian, you know. So there's certain things that he's learned obviously in his time in America, but I mean, it's different getting it from a different perspective from an actual American, you know, of certain things, and what could be the difference in being successful and success and this and that. Like, there's universal successful rules. Like, if you work hard, you know, you'll get results and this and that. But there's also ways to, like, you know, not bend them, but there's also ways to save yourself stress and save yourself trouble, you know, and getting it from a perspective of an American, you know, like, it was, you know, that was definitely key. And then the third one, I mean, I'm trying to think. It's hard. Like, I'd say someone who taught me would probably be, I'd say my ninth grade teacher, Miss Anderson. I was a bad kid back in the day, and she got a hold of me early, and she set me on the right path, and look, that was the first semester of high school, ninth grade. Once she got a hold of me and had that talk and kept getting on me and being hard on me, it set up a good foundation, like for me to understand that there's bigger and there's better, and I can become something bigger than York County, like I can definitely, I have potential to do anything, which any kid does. Every kid has potential. It's just a matter of them seeing it and understanding what they really do, Like, I mean, I felt those are probably the three people that really truly empowered me and helped me build the true foundation.
That's huge, man. That's huge. We have to all be thankful for those people in our lives, especially those ones that, caught us when we were young and all types of nonsense and said, hey, you probably shouldn't be doing that. You probably should be doing this. Sometimes we look at those people and okay, yeah, whatever. And, but when we do listen, it has a profound impact on my life. And I know definitely I've had those, I'm thankful for those individuals as well in my life and what they were able to do for me. And man, that's cool. We appreciate you sharing that and coming on here. Austin, anything else you want to wrap up with?
Yeah, I got a good one for you. If you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self anything, what would you tell him?
Man, if I could go back and tell my 18-year-old self, I'll tell him this: slow it down. You don't gotta be moving too fast, man. Slow it down, bro. Because I'll tell you what, you gotta. Even though I'm 23 right now, it feels like I've lived 50 years. You know what I mean? Like 20. I've only lived 23 years of life, and
Tell me
and
that.
I'll tell you that it's been moving so slow. So life is such a journey. It's not no sprint. It's a marathon, and you got to understand how to win the day. You gotta cut it up into days, and then the days accumulate, and then the years, the months, and before you know it, you've built something. That's why I really do believe we're building. Slow it down. Just slow it down. It ain't built in a day. It will come. Like that's the only thing I'd really tell my 18. Just enjoy it and slow it down. Those probably the only words I would give it to him. Oh man.
Well, that's a good one though, man. We really appreciate having you on. If is there anything you want to say to the people listening? Any words of advice? Any cool projects that you're working on that you want people to keep an eye out for?
Ah, I'll tell you what. I'm a modest kid, so I don't really like. I don't really like giving too many secrets, man. But I'll tell you what. This podcast is up next. Day by day, you guys keep working. Before you know it, I'll be coming into the studio. We're gonna be reminiscing on this exact day. So let's save this date. Let's keep working. Let's keep winning.
August 23rd,
Like
2020. The world's burning, but we'll have a podcast studio in like 2 years. So
we can all catch up.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you about this old money that I'm making right now. Oh man.
Oh man. Well, Dadeboe, thank you so much for coming on, man. I miss you like crazy, bro. It's been too long. And it's so cool to see, like knowing you from when I did, and same with Austin and the progression, all that knowledge you've taken with you. And it sounds like that those experiences you've acquired from those individuals, and how I just know wherever you're headed, man, you're in a good spot, dude. You're a hard worker, man. So you got a lot coming your way, man. I'm excited to see it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show. Sincerely, honestly, I feel honored. I'm grateful for sure. Thank you.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And we also say thank you to everybody for listening in. We appreciate it. Feel free to check us out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Drop a like, review, comment, subscribe, share it out to a friend. Anybody that you feel like needs to hear some messages that were shared today. And as always, we're super thankful for your time. Thanks for listening to the Iron Breed Podcast.